If you're working with very small amounts of money, that there almost always are some significant inefficiency someplace to find things that they were just plain overlooked, and you could find out about them, but nobody was going to tell you about them.
巴菲特在股东大会上直言，小资金没有规模束缚，能精准捕捉大资金瞧不上的被低估的小众标的，这些定价无效的机会正是超额回报的关键。
Hi, I'm Howard Winston from Cincinnati, Ohio. First, I wanted to thank you and Charlie for sharing your time with us today.
Thank you.
My question is, you've repeatedly said that you see many wonderful stock ideas, but can't invest because they're too small. Given that many in the audience today have a lower dollar investment threshold...
Do these stocks have names?
Well said.
Well, the answer to that is that we don't look anymore. We assume that there are a reasonable number of opportunities as you work with smaller amounts of capital, because it's always been true. I mean, it was over the years, as I looked at things, clearly you run into companies that are less followed as you get smaller, and there's more chances for inefficiency when you're dealing with something where you can buy $100,000 worth of it in a month rather than 100 million. But that is not because I'm carrying around in my head the names of 25 companies that we could put 100,000 in. And I just don't look at that universe anymore. Sometimes people send me annual reports or get letters from managers, and they say, well, I've got this wonderful thing, and I usually know ahead of time, but I would first look at the size, and if the size isn't right, and it isn't going to be virtually any time, I don't look any further, because there's just no time to be looking at all kinds of smaller opportunities. I do think if you're working with very small amounts of money, that there almost always are some significant inefficiency someplace to find things that I've mentioned to some people. When I started out, I actually went through all of the Moody's manuals and the Standard & Poor's manuals page by page, and it's probably 20,000 pages, but there were a lot of things that popped out, and none of them were in any brokerage report or anything of the sort. They were just plain overlooked, and you could find out about them, but nobody was going to tell you about them. And my guess is that continues to be true, but not on anything like the scale it was then. Charlie?
Well, I can remember when you bought one membership in some duck club that had oil under it when you were young.
Yeah, there was a company called Atlas.
When you get down to one duck club membership, well, you're really scavenging for cigar butts. But
not a bad cigar butt. There were 98 shares outstanding. It was the Delta Duck Club, and the Delta Duck Club was founded by 100 guys who put in $50 each, except two fellows didn't pay. So there were only 98 shares outstanding. They bought a piece of land down in Louisiana, and one time somebody shot downward instead of upward, and oil and gas started spewing forth out of the ground. So they renamed it Atlas, which is Delta spelled backwards, which was sort of illustrated the sophistication of this group. And a few years later, they were taking, at $3 a barrel oil, they were taking about $1 million a year in royalties out of the place, and the stock was selling at $29,000 a share, and it was earning $10,000 a share. No, it was earning about $7,000 a share after tax, about $11,000 pre-tax, and it had about $20,000 a share in cash, and it was a long-lived field. So, I use that sometimes as an example of efficient markets, because somebody called me and offered me a share of it, and those things, is that an efficient market or not? $29,000 for $20,000 of cash plus $11,000 of royalty income at 25-cent gas and $3 oil. I don't think so. You can find things out there. I'll give you hunting rights on all my duck clubs in the future.
巴菲特还在其他场合多次重申过这一观点，在某次采访中表示，要是我手里只有100万，每年差不多能赚50%，不是差不多，是肯定能，我敢保证。在沃顿商学院演讲时也提到，小资金更容易获得高回报。巴菲特的底气来自于他的投资经历， 他早期1950到1960年管理小资金时，年化收益率确实达到了约 50%， 远超同期道琼斯指数。他的核心逻辑是小资金没有规模束缚，能投资大资金无法涉足的小型低估标的，且进出市场更灵活。注意，这是巴菲特对自己投资能力的自信表态，并非对普通投资者的保证。